Hello, friends. We are on chapter 3, testate or intestate. So, the question here is if you die without a will the state be the one that decides what happens to your property? Or if you die with a will, how and does that work with the state going through probate? Well, in chapter 2, you learned about the different ownership of property and the different types of property. And the reason you did that is because one is you have to know how property is classified because state statutes will tell you how you go about then distributing certain types of property. You need to know how the property is held ownership wise to know if the property can actually pass title to someone else once you are in probate. So, testate or intestate. So, what we need to do is we always need to look at the state law that governs probate, okay? Because every state law is going to be a little bit different. And your book actually uses a lot of examples, but I haven't seen a lot of Kansas examples in there. So I'm going to first show you where Missouri is just because we're so close to Missouri. If you type in Missouri Reviser of Statutes, so just up like you see in the left-hand corner, this is going to pop up. And their homepage actually shows all the chapters individually. And you would click where my little green arrow is, and that's going to take you to trusts and estates of decedents and persons under disability. And when you click on that, it's going to take you to this mini parts. It's going to show you your chapters. And the probate code is covered in multiple chapters. But if we were going to look at intestate, that's what we're going to focus on now. It's going to be under the probate code of intestate, succession, and wills. But we're not going to go to Missouri. I just wanted to let you know where that is. You can go, if you're curious, you can page through the statutes on that. We're going to look at the Kansas Office of Reviser of Statutes. So type in the computer what's up in the left corner. And when you get to that, this is how it's going to look. And the very bottom says statutes. So you're going to click on that and you're going to page down until you get to chapter 59. Chapter 59. I kind of had my arrow off. That's why I was kind of going 50. So chapter 59 is our probate code. If you click on that, the Kansas statutes, then the probate code is going to be listed into articles. And since we're going to go intestate, to be or not to be, is going to be Article 5. So what we're going to do here for your questions is I'm going to have you page through Kansas law a little, okay? So one of the things that you'll need to know when the court will need to know when they are putting your applying the intestate laws is how your state defines children. So you're going to need to know how are the children classified. Biological children, for example, how do genetically related children get treated under the laws of intestate or adopted children? Posthumous children are children that are born after the death of a parent, and stepchildren, children not odd decedent spouse, but of decedent spouse. And so in order to figure that out, you are going to go to the statute. So what I want you to do is this next page is going to ask you 5 questions regarding how Kansas defines children. And so I want you to pause this, go through your reviser of statutes to answer these first questions. It should be fairly simple because it's very limited into either the intestate. This will be under the intestate section, but some of these questions, they're all going to be under that probate code. You'll be able to find them probably fairly quickly. Okay, so pause and I'll see you soon. Okay, that wasn't so bad, right? Not so bad. Okay, so when the court is determining whether or not or how to distribute this estate, a few things are going to happen. They're going to basically put everything in the pot that belonged to the decedent and the decedent alone. So remember, if we have right of survivorship property, that's not going to go into the pot, but a portion of tenancy in common may. And then we're going to also have creditors that are going to make claims against some of the property. And then there's going to be certain things that might be exempt from the intestate succession, meaning, hey, we're not going to put this in the pot to be distributed. And one thing is called the homestead, which is the home of the surviving spouse. And some states have a cash allowance, that set amount of cash that creditors cannot go after or that cannot go into the pot to other um, pe people who will receive money. And they may have personal property exemptions. So again, we're going to go to Kansas law. I'm going to have you pause and answer these questions regarding these certain things that we would have to determine how they're handled in Kansas, and then just come back and click on the video. Again, not so bad, right? So now once they kind of decide, the creditors have made their claims on what they can or what they can't, we say, hey, this gets to get pulled out because it has to go set aside to the spouse. Then we're going to start going, how are we going to distribute it? How is the property going to be distributed to each individual that the state determines should be a beneficiary, okay? Benefit from the distribution. So now is the fun part, right? Now we get to determine who gets what. So this slide is going to ask you a little bit about how and when people get money and how much they'll get. So I want you to go through this, answer those questions, and then once again, come back. Okay, I promise we are almost done. You have two more questions, and that is it. Okay, the last concept that I want to cover is when the property is sheets to the state. And what that means is basically that the state now is just going to take the property. And this is when after they've basically went through, exhausted all their efforts to find the degree of relatives that they find in their statute to be necessary, and they can't find any surviving relatives. So then when does that escheat to the state? So again, we're going to try to look under Kansas law, give you a hint, escheat, and I want you to make a determination on these two questions. And then I just need you to submit your answers here. Now, I have just kind of briefed or done an overview of some of these concepts for you. I'm going to, in my videos, instead of just rereading your book, I'm going to try to come up with some different examples, or we're going to try to work on finding things for your work. So if you do have any specific questions on the book, please let me know. I will also try to make sure I post helpful videos for all of you so that you can look at those too. So good luck, and I will be seeing you in the next video.